Fred, I ain't gonna do this. The war was over, and we picked up a whole mess of troops off Okinawa and went out to sea to ride out the storm. And the troops all got seasick and puked all over everything and everybody. And there were some ships that capsized. A destroyer capsized. But we didn't. And the old spar, the old mast of the ship would tip clear over almost to the water and then back almost to the water. And it lasted about 5 days.
Was anyone lost?
The end.
Was anyone lost in that storm?
Yeah, there was 2 destroyers that capsized and were lost in it. But there was other ships too that really lost some sailors. It was a terrible storm. But there was hundreds and hundreds of ships that rode it out too. Our LST didn't really have any trouble except it just scared you to death. I mean, it just seemed like it was going to tip over.
Indeed.
I don't think so. But none of the sailors got sick? Only the soldiers?
Well, we've been overseas for 2 years. I don't think any of us got sick. I know I didn't, except the puke. Just about make you sick. But we'd been riding that ship for 2 years. We didn't get seasick.
Wow.
Sweet baby.
Hey, Greg, why don't you turn that off?
It's off. That's a lie.
Now you have to do that, but without putting that.
So tell me about the end of the war, Sam. That's a good story. I like that story.
The end of the war?
Yeah, when you found out the war was over.
Well, let's see. We were in Okinawa, and I was only 18, and I really never thought about dying. I never really was scared of dying, except when it was actually happening. But when they announced on the loudspeaker that the war was over, I broke down, like I'm gonna live, I'm not gonna die. I just broke down. And then the skipper ordered that everybody could have little alcohol in some pineapple juice, have a drink. And the alcohol was from the compasses on the ship. It wasn't wood alcohol, it was a safe alcohol. So everybody got to have a drink. They'd drink anything.
Wow.
Sailors, they'd drink anything. Yeah.
Was the eyelashes, seeing the eyelash guy, was that true?
The what?
Seeing the guy's eyelashes, the Japanese pilot's eyelashes, could you actually?
Oh yeah, that was true. Yeah, the ship came in, well, our ship was just like it was on fire. We're shooting at so many different planes. And this plane came in so close that the ship over next to us thought we were hit. But it missed us and went into the water. It just barely missed our radio antenna, went in the water. And I was a radioman there, and I could see the pilot. I could, just as plain as day.
Oh.
It went in the water.
Were they all suicide bombers?
Yeah, they were, all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, the one Greg was talking about was a suicide bomber when we were in the harbor. He'd go to a ship like he's going to hit it, and he'd just about hit the ship, and then he'd jump over it and go next one, and jump over it, and the next one. Finally went into the water. And they sent a crew out to pick him up, and he'd gone to school in the United States, and they asked him about what he did, and he said, "Well, I ain't no damn fool."
Huh.
That's what they told everybody.
Uh-huh.
You'd make a good newspaper reporter. You're doing that for him.
No, I'm doing it for
Yes,
me.
you're doing
No,
it for
because
him.
I love
You're doing it
family
for him.
stories. You remember me writing to everybody and asking for family stories? Because I missed out on a lot of family. And I like the stories. I want to know. I want to know, when did you enlist?
I enlisted right after high school when I was 17.
Uh-huh. Huh. And you and Walt and Charlie were all in the same kind?
Yeah, we were.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Different branches, though.
Yeah. When Dad died, all of us were overseas.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of sad, really.
Uh-huh. It is.
Yeah.
So what about the torpedo story, Sam?
Well, that was just that I was on the bridge of the LST, and I was on the voice radio, which is clear up at the top, and I had to go down for some reason, I think, to take over the radio down below. And so there's two ways to get down. One is the port and one is the starboard. And for just no reason at all, I just happened to take the one to the starboard. And when I got down there, a shell, it wasn't a torpedo, I don't know where you got that. The shell had hit the stairs where I would have walked.
Have you got a picture of Sandy's little
Would have
black
blown my
dog?
head off. And I wasn't hurt or nothing. That's the way I was in the Navy. I never missed a meal. I never got cold. I never was in a foxhole. Nothing happened to me ever at all.
It sounds to me like that was a pretty exciting time.
Well, I said I was scared to death. It
Yeah.
scared the shit out of me.
Absolutely.
All the time. It was scary. Sometimes you didn't see how you're going to make it. But I never missed a meal. I never had anything happen to me. We had a time when a miniature sub sunk a ship next to us, or not next to us, but close to us, and we picked up the survivors.
Uh-huh.
And they would bring them on the ship, and some of them were burnt, so you couldn't even tell who they were. And we got the doctors as much as we could and things together. And then when we met the other ships that had picked up survivors, they'd all come together, you know, and they'd say, "Did Bill make it? How's Carl?" You know.
Uh-huh.
But that was...
Yeah.
Yes, we were in a convoy. This was the ship. It wasn't next to us, it was behind the ship that was next to us. We were in the middle, in the front, and there's a ship next to us. And a suicide bomber hit that ship, and the ship just disappeared. It just blew completely up. There wasn't anything left on the water. It just looked like it was, every person on it was killed and every scrap of metal was disintegrated. The ship had explosives on it. And it's terrible. And, but, you know what I thought? When I
You
saw
know
that,
where Misty
I
moved
was
to,
kind of
Greg?
glad it hit that
Just a
ship.
second.
Oh.
Because then it was one that didn't hit us.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt that way. I'm ashamed of it, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
You think you could feel that way?
We were talking about
60 people
Yeah.
killed. And you think, oh God, I'm glad it wasn't me. That's what you get to do.
Yeah.
The old guys on the ship that weren't 17, when those things were over with, a lot of them couldn't go down and eat. They sit up on the top deck and they'd just sit there staring out in space, and they'd say, what if they come back? What if they come back? And some of them guys didn't make it. They was taken to the hospital.
Uh-huh.
In fact, one guy like that he had a wife and a kid, and he died. Before we went to Mindoro, he went to shore and he asked ashore if he could be excused from going to Mindoro. He said he couldn't live through it. And they said, oh, you'll be all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. So we was going to Mindoro, and he started wandering around the deck, and he didn't have his helmet on, he didn't have his life jacket on, just looking in space. And so when it was over, they called a ship that had a doctor and asked him if they could take him because he'd gone berserk or gone crazy or something. So they took him, and that next day the flags on their ship went up and told us that he died. So everybody on the ship got together, sent a collection to his wife. But he just died, he just was scared to death,
Just
I
couldn't
guess.
take anymore.
Yeah. And then he knew it. He
Mm-hmm.
knew it.